Nobody likes getting scored on. But flicked on? That stings a little extra. Out of the hundreds of videos out there made to help you improve your flicks, I decided to make a guide for people on the other end of that, so you never get scored on by a flick ever again. I mean it. After this video and the custom training pack I made, you'll literally never get flicked on again.
Ever. Even if there's a fire.
I hate to do this, but before I start, just a quick reminder to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. It's free for you and means more to me than you could possibly know. If you want to go the extra mile to support me, you can join my Discord or you can even support me on Patreon. If not, just enjoy the video. Everyone is so focused on how to score, but none of that really matters if you can't defend your opponent's offense. Unless you have really good teammates. And if that's the case, I'm gonna need their contact info. But really, I think we get hyper-focused on improving our shots and we just assume that the defense part will work itself out somehow. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Flicks are by far the most common shots you'll experience in ranked, especially once you get into the diamond ranks and above. They're a staple that players rely on because they're fairly easy and a quick go-to option while dribbling. Not to mention they have a high success rate solely based on the fact that they're typically fast and powerful, and a lot of players struggle to know how to defend them. Similar to offense, defensive prowess doesn't solely rely on mechanical ability. It relies on positioning, experience, and ability. And I'm going to cover all of those, and include a custom defensive training pack with powerful flicks in mind so you can drill it until you're basically just a brick wall. The first thing I want to cover is positioning. You can't expect yourself to defend anything if you aren't in the optimal position to do so. The first basic guideline you should be following is to shadow defend when the opportunity is available to you. This alone will make defending against dribbles and flicks so much easier on yourself. Shadow defense is a term you've likely heard if you've been around the Rocket League community. It's the most common defensive method when opponents have possession of the ball. It requires you, the defender, to remain in a position where you're facing the same direction as your opponent, that being towards the net you're defending, yet a little in front so you're in an easy position to cover the inevitable shot, or challenge early if you're feeling ballsy. If you're too close to your opponent, they can simply flick it over you with ease and score. If you're too far, your opponent has too much space and your defense is no longer threatening. Good shadow defense comes down to experience and practice. You can get the general idea of how to shadow from just watching some high-level gameplay, but it's highly circumstantial depending on the game mode you're playing, how much boost you have, and whether the opponent is dribbling or not. But since I'm covering flick defense, you should maintain a safe distance between yourself and your opponent when they're dribbling the ball. I use the distance between the two midline boost pads as a safe guideline to follow. If your shadowing position is correct, it will make your job much easier, and you can save shots with pretty limited effort. Depending on the ability of your opponent, you may be able to get away with closer shadowing in earlier challenges. Every player you face is a new learning experience. Shadowing is great, but it isn't always a viable option. You may end up in your net in a high-pressure situation where a dribbling attacker is coming towards you fast. The rule to follow here is make sure you are always facing the play, and make sure you're in a position where you are covering your entire net. You want to do your best to ensure that no matter where your opponent shoots, you are able to reach the ball in time for a save. These are just general guidelines to keep in mind, but remember, unlike a shot, you can't force these methods to fit the situation you're in. You have to learn to adapt and use these guidelines to improve your defense as time goes on in your Rocket League career, which will come with practice.
We're talking about practice, man.
Now that we got those nitty-gritty details out of the way, it's time to wake up from your nap, so that I can tell you about the training pack I put together. I compiled a variety of shots with flicks in mind, so that once you learn your positioning foundation, you can move on to honing in on your epic save skills.
What a save!
I tried to include semi-easy saves along with very difficult ones to get a good variety. Keep in mind, not every flick is going to be a top corner banger, but you should prepare yourself by normalizing them as much as you can. As you know, I'm a proponent to setting goals while practicing. So do that with this pack. First goal being the very obvious one. Save the ball from going into the net. Sounds easy enough. Next, try to save the ball and get a follow-up touch on it. The closer you stay to the ball on the save, the better, because this translates best to in-game when you ideally want possession immediately after the save. And lastly, try to consistently do this on every shot in the pack. I'm not quite there yet myself, but it's a good way to test your skills in preparation for real games. Saving flicks is only a small aspect of your defensive game, but undoubtedly an important one. I hope this gets you one step closer to reaching your goals in Rocket League. Now stop watching this video and go get your save on. Or something. I'm really bad at saying goodbye.